back to Katrina's Creations Knitting Podcast. If you're a first-time visitor, thank you for stopping by. And if you're a return visitor, welcome back. This week has been extremely busy, and I'm actually podcasting later than normal, and I'll explain that a little bit later on. But I thought I'd give you a little update. The baby blanket I made last week, I went to the baby shower, and I took it to my niece, and she was very excited about it. She actually decided she's going to use that blanket for when she brings her baby daughter home from the hospital. And it's always exciting when you see people that you've spent that much time knitting something and that they really appreciate it. At the shower, she proceeded to take out her phone and show pictures of the baby blanket I made for her son a couple years ago, and photos she had with him with the blanket. And then my other niece actually pulled down some photos she had of her son and the same other nephew wearing baby sweaters that I had made them that they matched. And so it was exciting to see if they both really enjoyed the things that I had knitted. So in the course of doing all that, my niece said that she wanted to try to find a hat to match the blanket that was pink and white striped, something a little different from what they normally put as the baby caps on babies in the hospital. And she wanted to get like a little bow or a little flower for the hat. And so I caught her afterwards and I said, what would you prefer, a bow or a flower? Because I've got leftover yarn. So she said, well, surprise her. So I'm going to make a little baby hat, which I should be able to whip out in no time and be able to give it to her for Christmas. Baby's not due till February, so I've got plenty of time for the hat. So I got to be thinking whether it's going to be a bow or whether it's going to be a flower or if it's going to be one of both. I don't know yet. So anyway, that was exciting just to see somebody appreciate the amount of time that it takes. It makes it all worthwhile when you see that. So that was exciting. I have some finished objects this week. Last week I talked about I was making a snowman. I made 3 snowmen. This is the first one. He's my favorite. I think he turned out fairly well. His eyes are little buttons. His nose is crocheted orange thread that I had. And his mouth, I had stitched like little cross-stitch smiles on him. But these are actually little beads. The blue sparkle yarn is from my mother's shawl that I made. And the white has like iridescent speckles in it. And that was some yarn by the same brand that I had bought for myself. I knitted him flat with increases here, decreases at the bottom, at the neck, and at the top of the head. And then I knitted increases here and here where it was the ball was the widest. So when I stitched it up the back and seamed him up the back, I then had drawstrings that I had strung through here with yarn, and I just tightened those because you can't have a flabby snowman. So we had to fix those. And you can actually see the bottom, what I did. That's where it's all drawn together. He actually stands up on his own, but 2 of the other snowmen are littler and they do not. So my husband's actually going to build me a little, like a flat platform with either dowels or screws or something, and we're going to impale the snowmen on top so that they stand up and don't topple over. So this is the biggest snowman. That's the biggest one. And then these I'm not as happy with. I didn't like their heads as much. We have a little girl snowman, a little boy snowman. The little girl snowman, her bow's gotten twisted. She has a little hat with a bow on it. But I'm not as happy with her face. I didn't have buttons that were that tiny. And here's the little boy. He's supposed to look like a little Boy Scout. And he has a little baseball hat on his head and coveralls. So there they are. So we have the snowmen family. So that was one thing I made this week. And then, are you ready? I finally finished the the Kool-Aid shawl. That's why the podcast is late tonight, because I've spent all day long finishing it. I was just determined to get it off of the needles. So, without further ado, there is the Kool-Aid shawl. If you're wondering why I called it a Kool-Aid shawl, it's because I hand dyed the yarn from Kool-Aid. I'm going to get this as close as I can so you can see some of the colors. It has not been blocked yet, but this is much, much smaller than what it showed in the pattern. This is from the same book that I did my mother's shawl from. Again, I used the same, I did not check gauge before I did this, but I'm not a tight knitter. I'm not a loose knitter. I'm just an average knitter. This was supposed to be before blocked 48 by 21. It's maybe 14 by 30, so a lot smaller than what it called for before blocking. I have not blocked this yet because I literally just took it off the needles about 10 minutes ago. So we'll see what happens. If nothing else, it's just going to be a neckerchief. That's all it'll turn out to be. Speaking of which, the one that I am wearing today is just a simple yarn over, every other row yarn over, and it's in like autumn colors, like olives and browns and some rust colors. There's no pattern for it. I just kind of did it. It's a simple triangle. I have a lot of yarn. It just rolled onto the floor. I actually have a lot of yarn left over from my Kool-Aid shawl. I weighed it out. I've got 70 grams left. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I have had a thought of either plying it together to make, this is lace weight, to make it into a fingering weight. I've thought about keeping it as like this. I've also thought about bundling it into minis and putting it in the Etsy shop. Not sure. So I'll actually bring this topic back up in a little bit, because we have a giveaway in the podcast today, and that ball is going to be part of something with the giveaway. I will show you what that yarn does look like where it is knitted. You can really see the pattern better when I get to some straight spots. See if I can get this in the camera well. There you go. You can kind of see how the colors pool a little bit better. That one of the problems I had with this shawl was the yarn is very busy, the pattern is very busy. It drove my eyes crazy, and never again. The next time I do a lacy shawl, this is the first and last time I've done a lacy shawl with a patterned yarn. I won't do that again. Next time it'll be relatively plain yarn to do something with, because, like I said, this drove me a little crazy. But where I can see the yarn in more solid sections, I do like what I see with it. So, yeah, anyway, that's that. Now, my husband and I put our Christmas tree up this year. We put it up together the other day, so the house is finally decorated for Christmas. And we have an unusual Christmas tree. It's in mourning. We have a Christmas tree that's black. Yes, you heard me right. We have a Christmas tree that is black. Years ago, I had a tree. Our other house was decorated very much country style, like rustic country. So our Christmas tree was kind of shrubby looking. It wasn't like conical shaped. It was kind of, you know, more shrubby looking. And everybody teased me about my tree. Told me it looked like it was undernourished. So, one year after Christmas, a few years ago, I braved the hordes at Walmart, ran to the clearance section, and grabbed a tree. I wasn't thinking about anything with the color. I was thinking about the size. I wanted at least 6 feet tall and no bigger than 2 or 3 feet, because I didn't want it to like crowd over and take over the whole room. I didn't think about the color or anything, so I just grabbed it, threw it down in our crawl space, and didn't think about it again until the next year. when I opened up the box and went, it's a black Christmas tree. It looks like it got caught in a cross between a wildfire and it's in mourning. So the bonus points with it is pre-lit with like 200 bulbs. So when you plug it in, it kind of blinds you to the fact of what the real color of the tree is. It's technically a Florida black pine. My son went to college down there, and he said that's actually what they really do look like. They do look like they're black. And yeah, so it's for a unique tree, but this might be its last year of appearance. I might replace it next year, just because, well, it's a conversation piece. We'll just leave it at that. So anyway, let's move on to acquisitions. Or not acquisitions, my work's in progress. I'm jumping ahead of myself tonight. I've been busy. I'd hoped to get the project bags finished that I had started. And I bought the material I got the bottoms put together. So here's the first pattern. I mean, these are going to be folded over yet. But anyway, these are the first two that are going to be together. They're little owls. Little owls. And this is gray. And there's gray in the owls pattern too. So that is the one. The next one. Actually, the next two, because there's two that are going to look the same. And this is also a purple pattern. And this is pink with some darker pink and white dots. And this has pink in it as well. This is the outside of the bag. The inside of the one bag will look like this. And the other one I'm still working on. I'm not sure what it's going to be. But the first bag I showed is going to be huge. These are going to be more like sock, your smaller project bags. The first one, I think you could put a sweater in. It's pretty good sized. So it's going to be a big project bag. Then we come to the Dragon Felts shawl that I was starting on. I'll show you how far I got. It's not very far. That's it. That's all the further I've gotten so far. But now that the other shawl is out of the way, I can get started. And this is the yarn that is red, and it has some, it actually goes to a pink at some places. And then it has this brown and tan in it, which you can kind of see a little bit. This is what it looks like when it's knitted up. And I had a debate last week because when I started this, I thought it only took 2 skeins of yarn. And then when I read the pattern a little closer, I found out it actually takes 3. So then I thought, well, what do I put with this? The second yarn I had was this tan. So then I thought, well, what in the world do I put with this? And a subscriber and I were chatting back and forth. Her name's Karen Davis, and she actually has a podcast herself that you might want to check out. It's pretty good. And she had suggested cream, and cream would work with this, but the more I looked at how bright a red this is, I think it's going to bleed like crazy when I try to wash it or when I try to block it. And if this bled into cream, it would be a total mess. So I changed my mind on the cream, and instead, well, I'll show you what I went with. This is actually one of my acquisitions, but there's more to the story. Anyway, this is what I got to go with it. It has the same light tan that is in this skein of yarn. It's not showing as well on here, but it does have the same color in there. It's kind of more tweedy, but my thought with this is if the red bleeds, it's not going to be as noticeable in a darker color. Since this has reds and browns and they kind of bleed into each other when they go into the different colors, I thought if this does bleed, it's hopefully not going to stand out as drastic as it would otherwise. Now on with this yarn. As you can see, it is in a ball. I did not break down and get into my Christmas present. I am getting a yarn winder and a Swift grip for Christmas. I know this because I ordered it because my husband didn't know what one was. or what both of those are. So I ordered it, and then they were sitting in a box on the dining room table. And the temptation was getting to me to go use this to wind it up so that I could test for quality purposes, of course. But then he wrapped them, and it took away all the temptation because I really was beyond ripping the present open so I could use it. So I wound this for 4.5 hours. Yes, my middle name should be Grace, because I opened up my skein of yarn, had it all laying out in a circle, getting ready to wind it, and promptly dropped it. And it fell onto the floor and looked like a big tangled up bowl of spaghetti. How it got that knotted, I don't know, falling 2 feet to the floor. But it did, and it took me 4.5 hours to untangle it and wind it into a ball. Yeah, that was fun. But it's done, and now I can concentrate on this shawl. So hopefully I'll have a lot of progress by next week. I'm looking forward to it. So far this has been a real easy knit. It's all garter stitch the whole way through. It's just some decreases and increases. But it's a lot of fun, and I like watching to see the different colors as they come out. It keeps it exciting. I already showed you the one acquisition that I got this week. I also went online to Knit Picks, and I got these. I bought these on Cyber Monday. They were a really good sale. And the funny thing is, you know, I've told you before that I tend to gravitate to the same colors all the time. I never used to like purple or turquoise until my hair went gray. Before that, I tended to go for browns and greens and golds. I still like those colors, but now the colors that I didn't used to like, I go to all the time. I walk in a yarn shop and I have to mentally kick myself and keep me from going to purples and turquoises. So what did I buy on Knit Picks? Yeah, you guessed it. Purple and purple. And this, if you can see it up close, purple, and there are, here they are, turquoise. It looks blue, but it's turquoise. Oh yeah, they caught me again. I'm back to it. I did want to mention something about this skein of yarn that I bought. This is a Heritage Cascade yarn in wave. It is a 75% super merino wool, 25% nylon. I got this off of an eBay site. If you check out her store, it's called KK543. That's her shop on eBay. It was free shipping. It was in her clearance rack. And I got this in 2 days. Unbelievable. I've never had shipping this fast. It was supposed to come on Saturday, which is today. It got here yesterday. I was just totally shocked that I got this in 2 days. So, yeah. And the price was very reasonable. It's about what I would have bought in a store, but I didn't have to go anywhere. So, I've already bought something else from her. Yeah. It's addictive. But she has some really decent prices, so give her a check out on eBay. Again, it is KK543, and yeah, she had a lot of Cascade yarn and some other name brands. I think there was some Bernat on there. I forget what else, but she had several Cascades that were there as well. And her, like I said, her prices were very reasonable from what I saw, especially in the clearance section, which is, you know me, that's where I was checking things out at. The 2 Knit Picks yarns that I got in my 2 apparent favorite colors are both, this one is a Hawthorn Fingering Turkish Delight Kettle Dye, and it's 357 yards, and yeah, it just says it's a fingering weight. It's a superwash fine Highland wool and a polyamide. So that one's this one, and this is also Hawthorn Fingering, and the color is called Andromeda Speckle. There you go. You can see it really good. It's on a gray base. So those are the 2 yarns that I got. And then if you've been watching Ravelry right now, they're having a gift along where there's different yarn design or knitting designers and knitting pattern designers are offering throughout this month. They're putting things that are on discount. So one of them has a podcast that I watch all the time called Watch Barbara Knit. It's a very good podcast. I really enjoy her. She's really bubbly and yeah. And she knits a lot of things like that I would like to knit because she does a lot of shawls and she does a lot of lacy shawls. So I really like that. Anyway, she is one of the designers on the giftaway, and she was offering 50% off of a pattern, different pattern every day. And that pattern was on sale for just that day. Yeah, I got one. Today's is called There is Water at the Bottom of the Ocean. I'm going to fold this so you don't see the rest of the pattern. But is that gorgeous or what? And I've got some icy blue yarn that I haven't known what to do with. And I've got a little more than what it calls for. So it should be fun. It calls for 500 yards of, looks like fingering weight yarn, which is exactly what I've got. So this will be perfect. And the color I've got is, like I said, icy blue, which will go real good with the theme. Because I was watching her online today, and she was saying that the lacy kind of fins on this were supposed to look like dolphin fins. And she calls the borders kind of like a seaweed. So, yeah. So every day she's been offering a different pattern. So check out her podcast too. They're really a lot of fun. And I've enjoyed them. I've learned a lot from them. So she also does these cute segments every so often where she has a mystery shopper buy or something and send it to her. And it has to do with something with knitting. And then she opens it on. She does like an unboxing. So it's something different. It's a lot of fun. Today's, we're going to move on to today's book. And this one is Sally Goldenbaum. This, I believe, is the first in her series. This is called the Seaside Knitters Mysteries. And just like last week's story, it takes place in Massachusetts. This one takes place somewhere near Gloucester. It's along the coast, just like last week's took place along the coast. Anyway, the yarn shop owner is named Izzy, and her aunt is named Nell. And then there's an elderly lady named Bertie, and there's a friend of theirs named Cass, who's a lobsterman that's a woman. I don't know what you would call a lobster person. Anyway, she does lobsters. She fishes for lobsters. I guess that's what you call it when you go after lobsters, is fishing. I don't know. Anyway, she hauls traps with lobsters. She owns a lobster company, and her name is Cass. And they get together on Thursday nights for dinner and knitting. And in between all this, they solve mysteries. So it's a cute series. This one does have, I'm double checking real quick, but I believe it has a pattern in the back. Yes, it has a pattern in the back. So it's a good one. Like I said, it is Sally Goldenbaum. And the first one in the series is called Death by Cashmere. So that's a good one to check out. The next thing I thought I would do, since it's Christmas, this is like shameless self-promotion, but I thought I would do some what's in my Etsy shop for right now. So we'll start with, I have Progress Keepers. These come in sets of 2. The reflection is, they have little lobster claws. I'll do it this way. They have little lobster claws that are in different colors. This one's in pink. This one's in purple. And I have them in other colors too. And this one says, you can't see it, but it says Knitting Diva. Yeah. Oh well, it's not going to want to focus. Oh well. It says Knitting Diva. The other one is a little skein of yarn and needles. So they come in a set of 2. That's the Progress Keepers. Then I have stitch markers, 2 of which are the same as that. This was, I think I shared this on my first podcast as well. Now these have the rings on here, will fit up to a 7mm or size 10 US 10 needle. There's 6 to the set, and they come in a little bag, little gift bag. Now, if you need larger markers than that, I have these same markers, but I have colored loops on them. I had them around here someplace, and I don't see them now. Anyway, they're the same markers, but they have larger loops on them. They're in different colors. So those would fit up to bulky knitting if you needed them. So those will be in the shop. They're in there now, but the ones with the larger rings on them, I'll be putting on in the next couple of days. I'm still in the process of getting them up and running. So the other things I have in there, I have project bags. These are drawstring bags. These are like a grosgrain ribbon. And these are fairly large bags, and they open up. Well, you can see from here. They're pretty good size. They're about a foot across. And I'd say they're about 8 inches tall. And this is teal and gray, and it has a little metallic silver in it. And then the inside lining matches what the bottom is. And it's just the reverse of the outside is the inside. So that's the one. The other one is the same colors, just a different design. This one's a chevron, and it's also the same size. So I get a little closer. The circles have some metallic in them and gray, and the top has some black and gray and like a minty teal chevron. And the strings on this are gray ribbon. So those are the project bags. And then I have some hand-dyed yarn. It's called Bubblegum Bliss. I have them in lace weight, but I also have them in sock weight. These are the lace weight. They come in a pack of 5. There's 2 that are in the pink, 2 that are in the purple, and 1 that is in a speckled, kind of variegated color. And it has pink, purple, and a little yellow in it. That's the one lace weight. The other lace weight is pretty much the same. And then I have 3 sock weights, and they are 3 skeins each. And these are good sized skeins. I mean, all total, it is 246 yards. Each of these are 30 grams. So all total, it's 246. This is a sport weight. And it is, all of it is Peruvian wool, 100%. These are a little bit different color. They're a little deeper. They're a little muddier type of color. And then this is a bolder color. And the lace weight, each of these, this is 100 grams. And it's a total of 880 yards. So you could make a good size shawl or blanket or whatever out of one of these. So those are in the shop. I hope to get the Progress Keepers up for next week. The project bags up for next week. And everything should be, most of this is already in my Etsy shop. So check it out if you'd like. And let's get on to the good stuff. I'll tell you what the giveaway is. It is going to run from the time this posts, which hopefully will be Saturday night. It will run from the time it posts until the 23rd of December. And then on the 24th, I'll just do a short little podcast because it's going to be Christmas Eve. I'm not going to be doing anything big, but I will do a small little podcast and announce the winner. Now, here's what the prize is, and then I'll tell you what you have to do to enter. This is Malabrigo lace weight yarn. It is so soft. It's unbelievably soft. It is 100% baby merino wool. 470 yards, 50 grams. And the color is Arco Iris. So I'll bring this up close so you can see it. It has green in it and purple and yeah, it's just basically iris type of colors. They said greens and purples, lots of greens, some darker greens in there. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's very soft. So you would get this and a set of my Progress Keepers. There we go. Set of the Progress Keepers. So it's for the yarn and the Progress Keepers. It runs from tonight, which is the 10th. Today is the 10th. It will run from the 10th until the 23rd. So it's going to run for 13 days. In order to be entered to win, you must be a subscriber. So push the subscription button. You need to be a subscriber, and you need to leave a comment in the comments. And this is where my yarn that I made comes in handy. I want you to leave something in the comments of what you would do with this yarn. Whether I should put it in the shop, whether I should put it together as, apply it together as fingering, or keep it how it is. Just whatever you think I should do with it, leave a comment in the comments bar what you would do with it if it was yours. Okay, and like I said, that will run until the 13th, and then I will come up, until the 23rd, and then I will come up on the 24th and announce the winner. Okay, thanks so much, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.